Morning class 9 student. So this is the second video and the last video of chapter 5, the flower, in which we are going to deal about androecium and gynoecium. These are the third and fourth hole of the flower. Also we can say that these are the male and female part of the flower. And there are different terminology in this chapter which are really new to you. So try to understand all this terminology. We are also going to deal inflorescence and placentation. So try understanding all these things. And one more thing, that try making notes. And if still you are having doubt, you can ask me on the school CI Soft app. Okay, so let's get started the video.
Start the description of flower. As you know that the flower has 4 holes. Okay, starting from the outermost hole to the innermost hole, the sequence is calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. So in the preview, recall you the structure of a flower. So starting from the bottom, you can see that the last structure or the bottom structure, that is called peduncle, that is also have another name. Do you remember what that name is? It is pedicel. Okay, and do you remember that what the flower is called when it is without pedicel? It is called sessile, and if it is with pedicel, it is called pedicellate. Okay, then above pedicel or above peduncle there is thalamus, a basal region. Okay, and then the first hole of the flower, that is called calyx, which is green in color, and above it that is called corolla, which is a colorful or petal structure of a flower. Here at the sidewise region there is a middle region, and at the sidewise region there are two structures. You can see these are the male part of the flower, that is a third hole, which comprises of anther and filament. You can see here. Okay, anther at the top and filament is like a tube. Then the next one is the female part or the fourth hole of a flower, that is called pistil or gynoecium, and it is at the top, it is called stigma. Then the that canal-like structure, that is called style, and the lower structure, the basal structure, that is called ovary, in which ovules are there. So this is the structure of a bisexual flower, which we have already discussed in the previous video lesson. Okay, so let us start with the androecium. Androecium is what? That is also called stamen. So it is a male part of the flower, and it consists of two different parts. These are filament and anther. So filament and anther, you can see here that the long slender like portion, okay, that is called filament, okay, which provides nourishment to the anther. Why anther? Now anther is what? Anther, which is present at the extreme end of the filament, okay, or it is a two-lobed bilobed structure, and this bilobed structure is very important because it has pollen grains in it. This bilobed structure also having this bilobed structure in which each lobe has two sac-like structure. Okay, overall that it is a bilobed structure, so it has 4 sacs overall. Okay, and in all the sacs there are a powdery substance present, and these are called pollen grains. Okay, and when this pollen that pollen sacs get mature, then they release pollen grains. Now we are going to read about variation in stamens. So stamens have different variations. It means how it connect with each other, or how it forms layer, or how it connects with the other whole. Okay. So on the basis of attachment of stamen with each other, the first category is cohesion of stamen, and under which the subtypes are monoadelphous, diadelphous, polyadelphous, and syngensious. So let us start with the first one, monoadelphous. Monoadelphous is what? That filaments are fused into single bundle. Can you see that there is adelphous? Adelphous, that term is common in these three. So adelphous is what? It is actually, literally it means that the group of brothers. But here it refers to the part from which anthers grow out in bundles. So when the anthers grow out in single bundle, then we can say it is monoadelphous, and in which anthers are free. Okay, example is China rose. Students, I will show you a picture also. Okay, then diadelphous, when there are two bundles. Di means two, mono means one, and polydelphous, it means more than two. Then it is called polydelphous. And all these three conditions, anthers are free. And Syngenesius, here the condition is opposite than the above three. That here anthers unite together and filaments are free. Let's see the picture. Here you can see that monoadelphous single bundle of filament and anthers are free. Diadelphous two bundles, anthers free. Polydelphous more bundles and anthers are free. But in the Syngenesius, that filaments are free and anthers are fused together or form bundle. Got it? Then the second category of stamens, that second variation, types of stamens on the basis of layers of stamens. So on the basis of layers, it means that the stamens are shorter or longer. So these are of two types, didynamous and tetradynamous. Didynamous, it means out of four stamens, two anthers are longer, okay, and two anthers are smaller. So when two anthers are longer, then the term is called didynamous. Example is tulsi. And similarly, if out of six stamens, four stamens are dynamous, it means four stamens are longer, then we can say it is tetradynamous. An example is mustard. In the picture, you can see didynamous and tetradynamous. Here in tetradynamous, four anthers are longer and remaining two anthers are smaller. And the next category is adhesion of stamens. The first category was cohesion of stamens. It means how stamens are arranged together or attached together. Here we can see the attachment of stamens with other holes. Okay, so the first one is epipetalous. Epipetalous, it means it is related with petals. So attachment of stamens with the petals. Here in this picture you can see that how this anthers, white structure above which that green part is there. Okay, green part, that is called anther. So how this stamen attached with the petals, white petals, the petals, you know, that leafy structure. Okay, so this is called epipetalous. Example is sunflower. Here it is not a sunflower. Then gynandrous. Gynandrous, it means that attachment of stamen or androecium with gynoecium. Gynandrous, it means with gynoecium. Androus, it is about androecium. So combination of gynoecium and androecium, that is called gynandrous. And here you can see that this green structure is sepal, and inside there is another structure that is ovary and which is also green in color. Okay, so when with the ovary, if stamens are attached, okay, if stamens are attached, here you can see style surrounded by a tube of 5 fused stamen. So yes, that the stamens are attached with the ovary, then we can say it is gynandrous. Got it? Example is Calotropis. So these were about that variations of stamens. Now the next topic is pollen grains. Pollen grains are what, as I told you, that pollen grains are present on the anther in the pollen sacs. So there are total 4 pollen sacs in which this powdery substance are present. And this substance are transferred, this powdery substance can be transferred by air, water, or by different insects, animals, birds, human beings. Okay, this pollen grain is also having some structure. Okay, it has two layers. Outer layer is called exine and inner layer is called intine. If we compare outer and inner layer, so we can say that outer layer is thicker, inner layer is thinner. Then outer layer is tough and inner layer is smooth. Outer layer has spinous outgrowth. You can see that spinous outgrowth. Okay, rough structures on the outer side. Okay, so maybe that they have spinous outgrowth, and the in intine it's not. Okay, Sometimes what has happened, that sometimes in exine, that exine somewhere it is absent or thin. When it is absent or thin, then this is called germ pore. Germ pores are what? The germ pores are the place from where intine emerges out to form pollen tube. Now, the next question is that what is pollen tube? So, after pollination, it means transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. After pollination, this pollen grains form pollen tube in the style. Okay, style of the female. Got it? So, this is about pollen grains. And the next topic is gynoecium, the fourth hole of the flower. Fourth hole of the flower, and that is also called pistil. And or we can say a carpel consists of three parts. First one is stigma, terminal knob-like or topmost part. This is the topmost part of the carpel or pistil. Okay, or we can say it is a place where pollen grains lands. Okay, the pollen grain land on a place, or it gives us I can say that it gives a surface of attachment of pollen grains. Okay, and style, it is what? It is a canal like structure below stigma. It is present below stigma, a tube like or a canal like structure in which pollen grains form pollen tube. Okay, which gives pathway to reach the pollen grain in towards the ovary. Then the next one is ovary. Ovary is lower to the style or basal swollen portion. A basal swollen portion that contains ovule inside. That's why it's very important. As pollen grains have male gamete, similarly ovules or eggs cells have female gametes. The another structure that is called placenta. Placenta is what? That it is a special tissue which is made up of specialized cells which attaches ovules with the walls of ovary. Let us see the diagram. So here you can see external structure of pistil, pedicel, ovary, style and stigma. And the inner structure, okay, stigmatic surface and stylar canal. Inside it's a canal-like structure. And then placenta, as I told you, which helps to attach ovules with the walls of ovary. Okay. And one new word you are seeing here, that is loculus. Loculus is actually what? That it is the structure, it is the cavity in which ovules are placed. And then ovules, you can see this dotted structures, this round structures, these are ovules and the pedicel. Okay, here you can see ovary and style in this picture, and then stigma. So this is the structure of pistil. Then similarly, as like variations in stamen, here that there is also variation in carpels, but this variations are somehow simpler. First one is number of carpels. So number of carpels, it means on the basis of number of carpels, we can recognize that which type of flower it is. So here that monocarpellary. If the pistil consists of only one carpel, see this picture. So here that it consists of only one carpel. If one carpel is there, then we can say it is monocarpellary. If pistil is composed of two carpels here in this picture. Sorry. Here in this picture, you can see that pistil is composed of two carpels. This is one carpel and this side. Right side is one carpel, left side is also another carpel. So when it is composed of two carpels, then we can say it is bicarpellary. Example is mustard. And if there are more carpels than two, here you can see that pistil is composed of more than one carpel. Then it is what? Here is compound ovary with six carpels. There are six carpels, you can count it. So if it is about 6 carpels, then we can say it is polycarpellary. An example is rose flower. So this is about number of carpels. Then the second variation is fused or free carpels. Fused or free, okay, if the carpels are free from each other, then we can say it is apocarpus. Here you can see apocarpus, okay. Apocarpus is a type of in the fruit like custard apple or strawberry, okay. So here you can see that how it looks, okay. And if the carpels are fused, it means they are attached with each other, then if we can say it is syncarpus. Here you can see syncarpus, okay. Like tomato is an example of it, or China rose is an example of it, okay. In this, the carpels are united together, they are not free from each other. Got it? So these are only two variations of pistil or carpels. Now, the next topic is inflorescence. Inflorescence is what? It means the cluster of flowers or the arrangement of flowers on the axis of leaves. That is called inflorescence. So, this inflorescence is of two types, racemose, cymose, though it is the third case also a special type of inflorescence, but which is not given in your syllabus. So, we are going to discuss about racemose and cymose. First one is main axis is of unlimited growth. Here in this picture you can see that main axis is of unlimited growth, okay. Axis, it means the central portion, so it is about unlimited growth. And here main axis in which a flower you can see, okay, at the center, so it is of limited growth. Here in the second that second thing is what, that main axis can be branched or unbranched. It can form different flowers, or it can be unbranched also. But in cymose, that usually it is of branch type. Main axis have branches, you can see in the picture also. Then lower or outermost flowers are older and opens earlier. Here you can see that the flowers which are lower, they are the oldest flower, okay. They are older flower and they are present at the inner side. And here that the terminal flower or the flower which is present at the axis is the older flower and opens earlier than the lateral ones, okay. And one more point is there, that axis that axis in racemose never terminates into flower. Never terminates into flower, it means it can develop into lateral flowers, sidewise flowers, okay. But in itself it does not convert into a flower. But in cymose, that you can see it terminates into flower and it is of limited growth. So this is the basic difference between racemose and cymose. Here in the next picture you can identify which one is racemose and which one is cymose. So this structure you are seeing, this is what, that this is about racemose inflorescence. It is of unlimited growth, okay, and the main axis does not terminate into flower. Sidewise the flowers grow, new buds grow, okay. And here you can see that it is cymose inflorescence. Here that there is a main flower which you're seeing, that white flower, that this is the only flower that blossom, it is the older flower. And nearby you can see that the branches which has buds, okay, then they develop into flower after some time, after some duration, okay. So this is about racemose and cymose inflorescence. Now the last topic of the chapter, placentation in ovary. It refers to the arrangement of placenta in the ovary, or it refers to the arrangement of ovules in the ovary, that how ovules are arranged, in which design, what is the structure of ovules which are in the ovary. or that placenty. Placenty is what? Placenty is the plural form of placenta. So how that placenty is arranged in the ovary. So it is of different types: marginal, axial, parietal, basal, central. You can see that marginal type: axial, parietal, and free central, and basal placentation. So in the marginal, you can see that all the ovules are arranged at the margin side. Axial placenta, it means on the axis side. Parietal, it means on the periphery. And free central presentation, it means at the central region, which are freely at the center. And basal presentation, it means at the basal region of the ovary. So this is the last topic, and here you can see that the summary of this video lesson, androecium and gynoecium. So you can find out whatever I explained in this video lesson, you can find out in this page. So you can take a screenshot of it and then just read it once again and recall the whole video. So chapter is over. Have a nice day. Bye.